In the last couple of episodes, we uncovered something incredible, a hidden network of advanced hydro system beneath the basalt floor on the Giza plateau. These water channels seem to link the Great Pyramid all the way to the boat pits and the surrounding cemetery areas, with shafts, wells and cisterns dotted along the route. Today we will take that investigation further into the Valley Temple and the Eastern Cemetery, searching for clues that this ancient, highly advanced civilization built structures to last a lifetime and built their structures around one vital element, you guessed it, water. But let's think about it. Why would such an elaborate water system exist beneath a place for the dead? What role could this hydro system really play in a cemetery? Was it for power? Was it for flood defence? Or was it sustaining something entirely different to the narrative? Life. Easy tigers, hope everyone's fine and dandy. Welcome back. Please like, subscribe, comment, share and support the work if you can. Today we're going to be focusing on the Eastern Cemetery with our boots on the ground walking towards the Pyramid of Khufu. When we look on Google Earth at the basalt floor, and I was talking about these channel marks going to these boat pits are, in my opinion, places where water was collected and stored, because you can see that the channel marks run to and from the boat pits, and then from the boat pits to the smaller pyramids. And then when we zoom out of there, you can also see that from shafts in front of the pyramid, in between the basalt floor, channels run again from the boat pit to the pyramids. And the pyramids are what they're calling smaller tombs. And my opinion is this is a municipal complex. This is water being distributed around the complex. The pyramids seem to be the tip from where the water flows down from, because it's all downhill, eastern, away from the pyramids, to water cemeteries. Why would there need to be such an advanced hydro system for people that no longer need water? So let's take a stroll around the Valley Temple of Khufu. Let me just point out some things that I noticed that are very suspect, that go against the grain, against the narrative, against what is published and taught about this historical site. And again, I just want to point out the fact that Napoleon went here and there was a battle of the pyramids, and he took over the area and he documented the place and renamed a lot of the places, the pharaohs and the monuments himself. And don't forget that famous saying by Bonaparte himself, he who wins the battle writes the history. Enough of that anyway, let's just get to our boots on the ground so I can show you some stuff. But that was just food for thought, guys. So this is directly in front of the Sphinx. And I want to point out that, in my opinion, the granite has been cast up against the limestone before the limestone had fully set. And that is why we have these interlocking shapes. They're almost like jigsaw puzzles put together. And that's why we have these square cavities indented inside these humongous megalithic limestone blocks. And you can see that the granite had fallen out. So it's like they've cast it in place and pushed it in. And you can just see the blocks on the floor, the granite blocks that once sat embedded inside the limestone. And again, I'm going to be showing you clues to why this granite, in my opinion, has been man-made. And to prove it's been man-made, I will be showing you some exclusive footage. And I'll be showing you my process and stones that I made myself. So the granite is called casing stones, and the limestone would be core block work. The core block work is the rough and ready stuff, which makes up the actual structure, and the granite will be the casing stones that make it decorative. One thing I noticed about the granite is that water that flows openly will go through the granite, and water that flows in the channels will be in the limestone underneath the floors. Now check this out. So this is a granite block cast directly in front of a limestone block. Now how would you look at this? Like, they are interlocking like pieces of a puzzle. So you're telling me that someone cut the profile of the front of that limestone onto the back of that granite so perfect that they could just push it together and it fit like a glove. This is exactly what it looked like if you was to cast concrete up against another concrete block. And again, just look at the rugged edge. Did someone really go to all that time and effort to cut that profile so that block would sit nice and square in front of that limestone? I don't think so. And I mean, just look at this humongous block on the right. Look at it deteriorating. You don't really see granite do that, natural granite. I mean, I've never seen it, but I'm not a geologist. Now this corner is fascinating. What a beautiful bit of artwork. To me, because I come from a construction background, this is art. Now let's look at this granite. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in these images that I'm just pausing on. And some very strange angles. So this is no longer polished and flush blocks. Now look at this, you've got 3 blocks here. This is number 1, and this is number 2, and the bottom one is number 3. Now just check these 2 right angles out in the center of the screen that make up this block, and see how they interlock with the 3 blocks. Now also notice that there's a little smudge of something else just above that. Now is that just a little bit of reparation work or restoration work where they just filled in the gap? I don't know, I'm just guessing. Let me know what you guys think though. And again, so if this isn't cast, I just want to point this out. If this isn't cast, how would you get this so precise? It's literally like it's just been dumped on top of it and set. But people don't like to point this sort of stuff out, because it does actually prove that it's been cast, because you're not going to get these angles at all. I mean, just look at that. Absolutely phenomenal. And you can actually see, once the skin of the geopolymer goes, you can see all the aggregates inside, just like with concrete. This is why you can see all these stony, it looks so stony. Granite doesn't normally look like that. Not so stony and like bobbly. But you can see they've actually stuffed something in the middle of them 3 stones because there was a gap. And again, what they're going to do, cut that little profile of that gap out and fit a little granite stone to make it fit. And again, how would this be possible if they've cut a stone out of a quarry? What is this little bit flapping over the top of the right hand corner of that block? Interesting stuff, guys. And here it just looks like someone's pushed a wooden pole in the corner to give it that perfect right angle going all the way up. You can see it. One thing you don't see is you do not see natural granite deteriorate like the stone on the right hand side. And look at this. How is it doing this if this is natural? These are just questions I'd like to ask. people might think I'm crazy saying it's good. The reason I'm saying this is granite is because, with confidence, is because I went out of my way to make my own stones. And this is what I'll be showing you right now. I had a go at making granite, a statue grade granite, a core blockwork grade granite, limestone and red sandstone. And this is the red sandstone that I made. And it is actually quite simple when you do a bit of research and learn basic alchemy. And this is the core blockwork granite that I made. So it's made of bigger aggregates, and this was the statue grade granite that I made. It come out incredible. And there is minimal ingredients, and the reason I'm doing this is because if I can do it, then it's easily done. Now this is one of my failures that happened. I tried to make rose granite, so I had quartz, feldspar, mica, and then I had some granite smashed up in there, and then I made a binder and put it all together, but it came out like a strawberry milkshake with chocolate bits in it. Anyway, what does this hieroglyph depict? Because when you do make stuff like geopolymers and man-made stones, you get the minerals from the water or the sea. So this is what I think this hieroglyph is depicting. Guys that are going out, sourcing the material, also guys gauging stones and also transporting material, which is one of the biggest mysteries that people are talking about these megalithic blocks right now. But how did they move it? This is how they did it. They broke the stone down and they moved it and cast it where they needed it to be cast. And it's very simple. The ingredients you can find down the beach. And this is how you get this result, because you are casting stones directly on top of each other. Look at this. Casting directly on top of each other. This is how you get this result. This is how you can make these mad angles. And I mean, if this isn't cast, why have we got a massive air bubble sitting inside a bit of granite? Again, cast stone. Look how it's flapping over the block underneath it. And exactly the same here. So I think I've got a good enough arsenal of evidence to prove that not every single thing is cast, but there is a period of time where people or beings were casting stones. And again, I want to stress, not everything is cast, but there is certain stuff from a period of time that seems to have been cast. So we're just having a little walk around the Tomb of Art and the Eastern Cemetery. And I don't believe these are cemeteries, because again, why would you need such an advanced amount of water system supplying dead people? Doesn't make sense. You need water to sustain life, and this is what's going on here. The Giza Plateau is a humongous municipal platform, and it's been broken up into individual little sections on one tourist attraction. So you've got the pyramids, you've got the shaft, you've got the temples, you know. But this, we are actually walking through what they're calling a cemetery right now, and it doesn't seem to look like or feel to me while I was there like anything to do with a cemetery. It just looks like something that's been blown to smithereens. It seems to me like it's some sort of communal area that was decorated with granite walls and pillars and statues. And underneath the granite would have been the services, just like I'll show you, which is in the background right now, the basalt floor. So from the pyramid to where I'm coming, the pipes are sitting in channels going to these pyramids either side of me. It's crazy stuff, isn't it? And I just want you guys to notice that the amount of block work that this limestone floor is made up of is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But there's a lot of sand that goes all over. It's been spread over, so it's actually covering up a lot of cavities, a lot of square cavities that would have been cisterns, which you can see. I mean, look at that. I mean, what would this would have been? What, obviously granite would have sat right in front of that, but what would that have been for a structure? baffles me, the sheer size of it. And what went on here, you know, to get this in this state. I know over time it's been subject to loads of wars, and they've come here and took stone and used it for other places, but it seems to me like the place got blown to smithereens. And we're actually walking through what they're calling a cemetery right now. And there's just remnants of water and water channels, and this is a great example. So I believe that the water would have flown or flowed freely over this granite channel. You can see at the end of this channel that there is some sort of hole where the water went into. And this is something we see quite common on the Giza plateau, that I'm noticing in a pattern. That the granite will have these little gullies in, or these little channels, and the water. And also, I just want to point out, this stone is embedded inside that limestone, by the way. How would that be possible? But that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Granite casing stones embedded into solid limestone. That would only be possible if these stones were at one point some sort of, I'm going to use the word liquid, but I don't mean that, as in some sort of concrete mix, a slurry. But yeah, anyway, back to the little channel mark. This would have had water flowing out of this freely, and the water would have come from behind us, which is the pyramid, and it's at a slight gradient. So anyone that's been to the pyramids know that you walk up towards the pyramids, and you're going up not because it's a pilgrimage, it's because you need it for the flow of water to go down. Mental stuff. You can just see, look at this. So you can see the little channel hole at the end. So water would have gone that way because it's going downhill. Water goes downhill, not up, unless it's being pumped. So I believe this is some sort of water feature that would have been decorative on show in some municipal area, and it would have been the lowest part of the water feature. That's because the granite is still embedded inside the limestone. But it's interesting though, because I'll show you the difference, because this is something that's decorative. Now check this out, and I'll be showing you something exactly like this that you're seeing on the screen now, but in ancient stonework. And you can see that what happens underneath ground is not what you see above ground. It's actually taking the water away, and it will take it somewhere safe, and it keeps businesses and it keeps residents and just keeps everything safe from damage of water. So I'm going to take a walk over and show you where I found this sort of drainage system on the Giza plateau. So you can see, like I've always said, if you really want to know what's going on, you can just put some sort of endoscope camera under this granite, or in what I'm about to show you in a second, to find out where it all ends up. Because underneath here there will be an abundant amount of shafts, cisterns, wells. I mean, what's this little strange bit of material? Just all over the, like melted over the floor. What is that? If you've got any ideas, guys, let me know in the comments. Very strange material. And just humongous blocks. And what are these three circular stones? One other thing I want to point out is when you see the stone that's darker, that's because it's had something sitting in front of it which has protected it to stop it deteriorating. So when you see dark bits of the stone, it's normally flush and flat, and that's because it's been protected from the weather by the stone in front. And you only really see that on limestone that's been used as core blockwork. So here I just want to show you another water feature that I come across. And when I look at this stuff, I always look at the elevation in comparison to where it is to ground level, to the height of where it seems to have come from, because it gives you a better idea. Now check this gutter system out, this drainage system, like I showed you a minute ago, guys. Boom. So there is a flood defence or rain system that is on the Giza plateau, and it's right there. Boom, boom, boom. So again, if you really want to know what's going on, you can just put cameras down these holes and find out and see where they lead. And you guys tell me what went on here. I don't know what's going on here. Absolutely bonkers. It seems to me like the core blockwork of some sort of fountain, statue fountain, like that would have been encased in some sort of other material. Now, what I'm about to show you now is going to knock the socks off you, so make sure you've got them strapped on, guys. Now, we're walking around what they're calling this tomb area, which is situated directly in front of the Great Pyramid. Now, we just walked along some channel marks that lead towards this way where we're standing, but notice there's an abundant amount of sand on the floor, which you don't really get to see what's going on the ground. But check this out, guys. Unbelievable. There's only a pipe coming out of the corner of one of these pyramids, and you can actually see that the hole where the pipe went in is actually lined with something else, and we've seen this in Malta. It's lined with a different material. Now, what would be going on here? Why would, even though there's been no bodies found here, why would there be water supplies going to funeral areas? I don't get it, and places where people are dead. It just baffles me. So, my questions are, why would an ancient cemetery located on a dry plateau require such an advanced water supply system? Who or what was this water really for? Water is to sustain life, not sustain the deceased. And my second question is, if the stones of these structures appear to have been cast in situ rather than quarried and hauled, what does that suggest about the construction methods and materials available to the builders? And what would that do to mainstream narrative? And what purpose could a pipe emerging from a pyramid or tomb serve? Was it symbolic? Was it functional? Or was it part of this hydraulic system that's been underneath the basalt floor, that's come from the shafts and distributed across the rest of this funeral area or cemetery? Let me know in the comments, guys, and also while you're there, please like, subscribe, comment and share. And if you're generous, please support the work on Patreon and PayPal, and I'll thank you in advance. Take care, guys. One love. Ta-das. Ta-das.